I'm Jim Collison, and this is the Wellbeing at Work with CliftonStrengths podcast, recorded on February 25th, 2022. In this CliftonStrengths podcast, we'll look at the strengths, insight, and action planning items from Appendix 1 in the Gallup book, Wellbeing at Work, one theme at a time, and today's theme is individualization. If you're listening live, love to have you join us in our chat. There's just a link right above me there. Or if you're listening to the recorded version or as a podcast, you can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Dr. Jacqueline Robinson is our host today. She works as a Gallup Learning and Development consultant and was the primary contributor to Appendix 1 in the Wellbeing at Work book. And Jacqueline, always great to be with you. Welcome back.
Hi, sir. Thank you.
We are talking about individualization today. Let's start with that standard definition.
All right. People that lead with individualization are intrigued with the unique qualities of each person. They have a gift for figuring out how different people can work together productively.
This is an area I love to do well. It's like putting, I think the Ranger kind of helps out with that because it loves putting lots of people in lots of processes. I love to do that. Let's talk a little bit though. How does that relate to you? And then how does that relate to others?
How it relates to you. So as someone who's less interested in a standardized approach, you might live your life open to new experiences that stimulate your mind and give you a rush of enthusiasm when you can really just customize. How it relates to others, you tend to be adept at recognizing the characteristics of a person or even a project, and people find you to be quite relatable because of that personal touch that you can, that personal, or I would even say customized touch that you can put on people or projects.
Personalized or customized, I think are the key word. You get this recognition that's been individualized to you, and it just makes you feel like $1,000,000.
Yes,
right?
So genuine. You just feel seen.
I think individualization can be the champion of recognition. This is an area that where they add those two together, and the superpower is enhanced. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about that as we go along, but we're spending time thinking about it from a well-being perspective. And so what does this theme look like when it's thriving versus maybe when it's struggling?
When I think about thriving, particularly from the personal perspective, when given the opportunity to customize, their personal and professional life, and are valued by others for their ability to find the right person for the job, those are just a couple of key elements that I think would make someone high in individualization just feel alive. Struggling might be the opposite when you're instead faced with a more standardized, one-size-fits-all approach to that person's overall life, but additionally when the workplace requests that everyone be treated the same, or there's no wiggle room to modify based on that person, team, or department that you're interacting with. It might feel like your world is just getting smaller.
COVID kind of upset the apple cart for both those that went hybrid or went completely at home or had to stay at work, right? All those workplaces changed. And I think individualization at the corporate level, those that got it right thrived, and those maybe that didn't. I mean, the whole thing changed. And I think those that had the ability to think through it from an individual, because it was all things were new.
It's a really good perspective. And now with return to work, we're seeing that if we're not really customizing to the culture of the organization, the people, where some might want remote, some might want to work on site, some, like a hybrid approach. We're seeing that a bit now. If an organization wants to take a standardized approach and everyone's back in or everyone's remote, some people in the organization are really struggling with that.
And I think whether that's our coaches or our embedded coaches, I think about those coaches in organizations that are working maybe with their managers and struggling. Are we coming back? Are we staying? I mean, even some of the businesses that never did the work at home thing, their environments have changed. I was pulling into a restaurant just last night doing a pickup order, and I noticed I hadn't been there in 2 years, right? I was noticing their to-go section had expanded to handle, right? That changed for them, right? Their seating had changed on the inside. Well, what does that mean for the workers, right? And how can we individualize in those cases to meet the needs of what's going on there? So there's been changes everywhere. As we think about this in the context of well-being, we can look through the lens of maybe one of the well-being elements. You have that outline in the book. Let's take one of those and work it through.
For this, I chose physical well-being. This person is inclined to appreciate a customized approach to their health and wellness. So they will thrive when a nutritionist or a personal trainer designs a program for their specific goals. Definitely that one size fits all approach will not
Yeah.
work here.
Well, what I love about this example, though, is you think about physical well-being in the sense
Mhm.
that there are some common, as humans, there's some common things about us that are correct. Like it, because I like bacon,
Yes.
doesn't mean like, well, I'm going to individualize and
Yeah.
go on the bacon diet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, probably not the smartest thing to do.
Uh,
But as I always think of like Ryan Wolfe, who's kind of helped us kick off this series.
mhm.
His job is to individualize all the things he knows about me as an individual and help me lead me in ways of taking those standardized approach to things
Yes.
and putting an individual spin on it, right? I think that's the magic, right? When
Which
it
I
when it works that
love.
way.
It's like you love bacon. Maybe you can't have the applewood smoked bacon. Let's move you to turkey bacon. We're
Yeah.
still customizing to you. Health is something everyone in the world's got to focus on.
Yeah.
Let's just make health something that's customizable based on
Yeah.
your likes.
Well, or using it as a recognition or a reward and saying,
Mhm.
well, okay, we'll take it down to once a week or every other week, and it's a reward for this kind of activity, right? Listen, we have
Mhm.
personal trainers all around the world right now freaking out that I'm saying these things. That's just an
Bacon.
example. It's just an example. So make that work. But I think in this
Mhm.
individualization world, it's taking some of the things that are standard and then individualizing them for people to get the best productivity out of them that we possibly can. As we think
Yeah.
about individualization in by the way, there's 4 other of those elements out there in the book. Make sure you get Coach's great tool for you to use in there, Gallup at Work. Um, Jacqueline, when we think about individualization, it's hard to say as it is a spell.
I
How can
know.
we use this to, it's the longest one, by the way. How can we use it to support others?
Well, if you're a manager or you're leading a team, someone high in individualization is really great at matching talent to task based on that person's unique experiences, education, talents, or skills. So continue to maximize on that and lean into it. If you're on a team, clients and customers love how this person sees them for who they are. So I find those with individualization are a great voice and champion for them and can help others see their unique traits and characteristics too. And then as an individual, as someone that loves a customized plan, you probably don't shy away from trying out something new that seems relevant to a current fitness, workplace, or personal goal. And I think just that the joie de vivre that those high in individualization have for customizing based on themselves, the event, the experience, the environment allows other people to kind of see the world in 4D as
Mhm.
well and
I
shake
I
it up a
always
bit.
I always appreciate those with the high individualization in finding the best thinking about me and then finding the best parts of those things and saying, "Hey, have you thought about like
Yeah.
this? Have you thought about taking this and doing it this way instead?" Or
Mhm.
some of those kinds of things. So that's always helpful to me. In Appendix 2, we have a framework that we like to work through. Again, coaches, individuals, embedded coaches, you can take this and use this framework. But it is very simple to use. Jacqueline, walk us through it for individualization.
Mhm. So for this, I selected from physical well-being, just kept the trend going. But ask yourself, where do I need help making progress in my physical well-being efforts? Maybe drilling that down will help you when you do talk to a personal trainer or a nutritionist, so they already have a path that they can start to craft for you. Ask your team members, how can we support each other's physical well-being? Everyone's going to be on their own plan. Let's champion one
Mhm.
another and take action. Get at least 20 minutes of physical activity each day. So, as a master customizer, there's ways that you can make each day feel new and customized to you in just 20 minutes. New hiking trail, new trail you're using on your bike if you have a stationary bike program you're using. Um, New juicing routine. I see it all the time with those high in individualization. They always find ways to just put some variety and make it a little spicy.
When I was managing some teams at Gallup, there was always a race event, a running race. So we'd do as a,
Hmm.
we'd have a corporate team that we'd put together, and I would always try to encourage my team to join us. And one of the members couldn't, that they wouldn't do those things on Sunday. And that's great. I honored that. So I said, hey, how about you and I get together on Saturday and we'll walk that distance just together. And at first
awesome.
he was like, really? I'm like, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't we? I need the fitness, and it'd be great to spend some time with you. I think a really good example of taking a standard approach, like, the corporate event is a standard approach, right? Everybody at the same time doing the same thing.
Yep.
And then for someone who can't do that, say, okay, let's think of an alternative, and I'll do that with you as an example. We've done that now
I really like
10
that.
years in a row. I think we've done that each year. Every time it comes up, I get an email from him. He says, are you willing to walk with me on Saturday? Yeah. So
I
it's
love
super,
that.
super fun that we did.
And
It's my
special.
best example. Yeah, my best example.
Gosh.
Jacqueline, anything else you want to add before we wrap it?
Not that we haven't covered on this one.
All right. Well, with that, we'll remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources we have available now in Gallup Access. Head out to gallup.com/CliftonStrengths. If you're looking for coaching, master coaching, or become a Gallup certified strengths coach, you can always send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Don't forget to follow us on any social platform by searching Clifton Strengths or the Clifton Strengths podcast. Make sure you subscribe to that as well. That's where you'll find the recorded versions of this. We want to thank you for joining us today. For those of you who are live, stay around for some post-show. We're going to quit a little bit early today, but there'll be a few minutes of that. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.